Hello, my name is Nick Deborah, and in this short video, I wanted to talk about whether it actually makes sense to make the slices in our pie charts different colors. And so just as a bit of context or as a reminder, of course, in charts, color has meaning, right? We use different colors to represent different categories of things typically. And so that's why a chart like this is actually, not necessarily a great idea, because if we use different colors for different bars, then people are going to wonder essentially, what do the colors mean? They'll maybe look for a legend, but there's no legend, right? These are all head count, but because they're different colors, are these like maybe different kinds of head count or something? Oh no, actually they mean all the same thing. And so we're just kind of wasting a bit of cognitive effort for the audience to figure out that the colors in this case mean nothing. And so really the kind of, takeaway that I recommend in my course is that, of course, if your chart works with just one color, just use one color. And so now if we look at pie charts, a pie chart like this, which of course has all the slices being one color, technically this chart works with just one color. We don't actually need different colors for different slices. And yet, personally, I would actually make the slices different colors because I don't think that this chart works particularly well. But the reason is a little odd, right? It actually has to do with kind of a weird quirk of how human vision works, right? We tend to think that we have sort of high definition vision at 170 degrees in front of our eyes essentially, but it's actually not true. We only see in high definition in the very center of our field of view, which is called the fovea. And that is actually very small. Like if you were to hold out your thumb at arm's length and look at your thumbnail, that's the fovea. That's the part that you see in sort of high definition. And then as you move sort of away from that, your visual acuity actually drops off very quickly. And you can actually kind of see this for yourself in a chart like this. For example, if you were to just stare at this, the label for the East, and then without shifting your gaze, without moving your eyes, try to read the labels for the other slices. Kind of weird, right? And so I think what's happening in a chart like this is that when we're looking at one slice, regardless of which slice it is, the other slices kind of blur into a big blob if they're all the same color, right? We basically we no longer perceive the other slices. And so from the perspective of how our actual kind of vision works, this chart doesn't work very well. And so that's why I would actually, I would make the slices in a pie chart different colors, even though, like I said, technically it's not necessary, but just because of the way that our vision works, I think it's actually kind of a better idea. By the way, I don't want to get into the whole pie chart discussion. I used to be an anti-pie charter. Now I'm a pro-pie charter. Just Google my name, pie charts. You will find a detailed article about that if you want to know the full story there. Kind of the same idea also with stacked bar charts, by the way. Technically this chart works. Technically, we don't actually have to use different colors for the parts of the stack. But again, if we're looking at just one part, the other parts tend to kind of blur together into a big blob. And so I don't think that this works very well either. And so even though technically it's not necessary to use different colors, I do think that visually works better if we use different colors for the different segments in a stacked bar chart. So this is just one of the many topics that I cover about charts and data visualization in my practical charts course. And I do actually a couple of workshops a year, usually 2-3 public workshops a year. Most of our workshops are private, but there's a public one that's coming up in January where I'll be delivering my practical charts course across 4 half days live on Zoom, and then my practical dashboards course the following week. If you want to know more about that, just visit my website, practicalreporting.com, and I've created a special discount code for people who watch this video to get 20% off the registration for that workshop. And thanks very much for watching.